Okay, and just a reminder to everyone, please put your name and affiliation on the agenda. So today we don't have a lightning talk, so we'll just move on ahead with the schedule. So first we'll take a look at the user-raised issues. So we have a few come in. Actually, I don't think we have a new one since last meeting. Is there anything here that anyone feels requires any particular attention? Okay, if not, we'll move on. So I'll skip download trends for this week. So I guess the first major thing is the 0.29.1 release. So we're down to one blocker. There was a bit of discovery this past week, so see if Jack is on the call. I don't think Jack is here. But essentially,
I'll give an update on that, Toby.
okay, thanks now.
Yeah. So I know Nazim and Jack have been kind of coordinating on this one with a bit more focus on the JIT side of things. So one of the challenges that we had was the reproducibility of this problem. So Nazim did spend some time working with the test case itself to try to whittle it down to the smallest possible thing that could get it to fail. So he was able to do that. So it used to take like 50 runs of 25 minutes each to fail. Now he's got it down to 1 minute per iteration. So it's a much more workable test case here. So we did start looking at it from the OSR side to see what some of the issues might be. Not a lot of progress there yet. One of the things that we did just confirm for ourselves is the method that we decompile out of, the make intrinsic, that does contain method handle and lambda form methods that are inlined into it. And when we disable inlining of those methods, we haven't been able to reproduce the problem yet. So not sure what that means just yet, but the fact that, well, there may be a connection there. So we're in the process of enabling some more tracing on the OSR transitions to try and capture more information about what's going on. And hopefully we'll have an update on that later on today.
Okay, thanks, Daryl. And just to confirm, we still believe that based on what we know about this problem, it is still a blocker.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't, was kind of, I was looking to see if there was any sort of indication that this is a very specific, like a very specific problem to hot code replace or something like that we could maybe use as an excuse to defer it, but haven't really found any evidence of that yet. So for example, we don't know if HCR and method handles, like that combination together, is just broken in some way, or if this is just some very obscure case of OSR having a problem because the method is now so complex because of the lambda forms and method handles that we see there. We just don't know that yet. So I'm not confident yet to say that this should be deferred, but we do want to spend a bit more time, looking into it to say one way or the other.
Okay. Thanks, Daryl.
Sure.
Okay, so for 0.30, this will be the first update for JDK 17. The plan is still to branch on November 27, just 2 weeks from now. I guess depending on what happens with 0.29.1. This may actually be the first JDK 17 release. And then the hope is that we're done the M2 builds by December 15, just before the holiday season. For 0.31, this will be the JDK 18 release. So far, it looks that the first major thing on the JEP list is re-implement coordinate reflection with method handles. So I guess we'll move on to that now. Babneet and Jason, I know you guys were looking at this. Is there an update on the status of this? We had some issues with the JDK Next build. Have these all been resolved?
Hey, Toby. So I think we unblocked the builds last week,
Okay.
and Jason fixed one of the issues where we needed to update our implementation of Java Lang class with where he used the new Java Lang access reflect API in order to use the reflection library, which fixed some of the issues. I think we are facing two more issues. One is while accessing unsafe or using unsafe, it says reflection API cannot be used because the Java Lang invoke dependency needs to be initialized. So I think Jason had a fix for that. And then there's another one where the I think JEP 352 NPE. There's a test for I don't exactly remember what JEP 358 is, but there's a test case in JEP 358 which is broken. If Jason is here, I think he can give an update on that.
Is that the null pointer message
Yes.
generation? Yeah, okay.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks, Beverly. They pretty much cover the current status. And then the first two issue already resolved. One is the Stack Overflow error, that was last week. And another one is an unsafe instance initialization issue that was merged yesterday. And currently I'm looking at the null pointer exception message generation, kind of got confused by the new JEP 416 method handle frames. So I need to find a way to skip it. And I expect the PL to be opened tomorrow. And currently I'm running test functional sanity and function extended, and no other failure observed so far. Probably need to run a few more test buckets to be sure before re-enable JEP 416. Yeah, that concludes my update.
Thanks, Jason. Okay, we'll move on to general business. Shelly here. I don't think Shelly's here. Okay, we'll move on to machines. Adam, is there a machines update?
Not much to say there. This as usual. There's I think one or two machines offline that Pete has issues open for. We just haven't actioned yet.
Okay. Thanks, Adam. Move on to CMake. Devin, is there an update?
Nothing really much new there. I need to double check that we ended up getting the QEMU installed for the RISC-V cross compiles, and then that should be good to go once it's installed on the machines. That's about it.
Okay. So just to clarify, the focus now is on the cross compile platform, so ARM and RISC-V, or is it just RISC-V?
Just RISC-V. I believe at the moment all our ARM builds are native.
Okay. And what is the status with the closed J9 support?
I haven't taken much of a look at closed J9. There's like from the what do you mean like closed J9 itself or the Axon builds?
Axon builds.
Axon builds. I haven't dug into really looking. There's some changes there because we need to modify them to use the new DDR gen. So that's some digging into some of that scripts there to get that to work.
Okay. Thanks, Devin. Is Marius on the call? I don't see him, so we'll skip that section. And I don't see Scott Young either. For CRIU, we're going to work on adding more API updates to enable users to add their own hooks. This is something that we've seen a need for from the Liberty experiments. This will enable users to run hooks in a coordinated fashion, as the VM has much more control on serializing the order in which hooks run. So that's the only new update there. And I guess since we're still working on 0.29, there's no Loom progress. Chang, do you have an update for the Panama work?
I'm still keep working on the primitive support of Apple on Linux PowerPC64 LE. So specifically, the coding file from native to Java get start working, but then there's still a bunch of bugs and errors with a pointer and in terms of argument and return and other unknown bugs. Still need to figure out what's going on out there. Yeah, that's my update.
Okay. So for the phase 2, phase 3, that's just waiting reviews, right?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thanks, Chang. J9 and Health Center. I think this was a discussion item. We don't have Peter or Dan here, so we can skip this. And then we'll have Lana Shelley for the name changes, so we'll skip that as well. So yeah, this brings us to the end of the agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to raise?
Not really anything to raise. Maybe just to give you a bit of a status update on the Mac M1 work that we've been working on.
Sure.
Yeah. So as many of you might know, we've been working on a port of J9, OpenJ9 to the Mac M1. So this is Mac OS running on ARch64. So there is, we have just, as of 0.28, we have released ARch64 on Linux as a production-ready release, so it's no longer early access. And as of JDK 17, OpenJDK has support for OpenJDK on running natively on macOS M1. So the work that we are doing post JDK 17 or JDK 17 and onwards is to port OpenJ9 to get it to run natively there as well. So far the work is proceeding fairly well. We're able to run the interpreter and run many workloads on JDK 17. We're also able to run, we did some tweaking to get JDK 11 working as well with some relatively minor changes. So we can run there as well. JDK 8 is a bit of a bridge too far at this point, and we're not focusing on that. The real effort right now is getting the JIT to work on getting the JIT to work. So one of the things that Apple did with Mac OS on M1 is they changed the way that they changed some of the permissions around executing dynamically produced code. So we now have to go through an API to be able to write to a buffer that can then be executed. So we need to find all the different places in the JIT and the JIT runtime which potentially modify the code that we're going to be executing, and make sure we go through the API to ensure that that everything goes smoothly. So the team in Tokyo has been doing that, and we're able to run some things with the JIT, but not everything just yet. There's still a few places that we need to find and fix, but we're making good progress on there. Other problems that we have at the moment are core files don't get generated at this point, and we're having some problems with compressed ref support, where we need to figure out some solution for allocating the threads and classes. But beyond that, progress looks pretty good. It's too soon to say when we will be able to declare that we want to release this. I'm hoping, I don't want to commit to this just yet, but I'm hoping we can have something ready for JDK 18. You know, at least something that people can run with. Maybe we won't have compressed ref support just then, but we'll hopefully have a JIT and a solution that people can run with. So yeah, so that's essentially where we are. Good progress, but not quite there yet. Oh, and we do have hardware available in the open project as well for eventual PR testing. So we do have some hardware set up at the University of New Brunswick that will be added to our build farm when we're ready to build on it. So we're getting all the pieces in place to be able to fully support this.
Thanks, Daryl.
Okay. Thanks.
Right. Oh, anything else anyone wants to bring up? Okay, if not, we can end the session here. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll meet again next week.